Last Sunday I streamed for 6 hours and the only thing I did the entire time was 1v1 my viewers. Now after gathering a whole lot of footage and highlights, I looked over all of it and noticed that a lot of them had been making the same mistakes in their matches against me. So I decided to make this video to help you learn from the mistakes of the people who dared to challenge me. Now let's set a few things out first. These 50 viewers were not chosen by me and I had absolutely no knowledge of their rank. They could have been Supersonic Legend or Bronze or anything. All I did was set up a queuing system and let 50 of them line up to be knocked down one at a time. This does mean that while the advice isn't rank specific, you should look at it and compare it to your own games and gameplay to see if it is something you can implement into your own ranked matches, because there is definitely a high chance that you can. Secondly, out of the 50 matches, I won 45 of them, which isn't too bad when you take into consideration the absolute anger that flows through your body during a ones match, and then remember that I did this for 6 hours straight. Next, I agree that if my opponent was not from Oceania like me, I would play on the US West servers because any other server would give me 200 ping and US West would give me 130 to 170. Except there was one match where I played on an Asian server and won the game 5-0 on 400 ping. But these things happen. And lastly, if you guys don't already, come hang out with us on the stream. It's completely free and you get to watch everything you see in these videos happen live on stream. Now, with that all out of the way, let's get into the things I saw many of my opponents doing or not doing. The very first thing that almost every single person did was to give me way too much space when I had the ball. This probably comes down to a few factors, admittedly. They were either a low rank and wanted to play it very safe by sitting in the goal, or they generally weren't sure about where to position and didn't want to push up too far. And while this might be fine in some of the lower ranks where players aren't too comfortable flicking the ball, it is a smarter and safer play to be pressuring or at least near the attacking player at all times instead of sitting in the net until they shoot. By sitting still and waiting, you allow your opponents to make many mistakes and not get punished for them. They can begin a dribble and mess it up, then just start another one over and over and over again until they get comfortable and have an easy time flicking the ball towards your goal. On top of that, they get to take the ball wherever they want. They can gather boost and have as much momentum as they want to pressure your net. Now, you compare this with someone who stays close and pressures the attacker. If a mistake is made, you can turn and capitalize. If they drop the ball mid-dribble, you challenge. You can boost starve them, you can shadow defense, they have less of a chance of scoring. Essentially, by just staying close, you get to shut down a huge amount of opportunities and force your opponents to either score or defend. So that was one of the main things why a lot of people had some difficulty saving flicks. I mean, give someone who can flick the ball time to set up a flick, and you're going to struggle to save it. But the next thing that almost every single player could have looked at improving was stealing and denying boost. I have spoken a lot in the past about boost management and maintaining boost as you make your way around the map. And that takes a decent amount of time to not only understand, but to fully implement into your gameplay. But stealing boost and denying it? This one is actually way easier than you think. The best instance where players can bring this into their gameplay is directly after a shot. If you shoot towards the opponent's net and they save it, you're normally given two options depending on their touch. If they save it and control it, you have to get ready to defend and stop them from starting a counter attack. If they defend it and don't control it, you get the options to go for another shot. These are the two situations I saw most often in these games. What many people didn't consider is that if you have the option to shoot after your opponent makes a touch, instead of shooting, just move the ball back and steal their boost. A lot of the time, people tend to rush a second shot simply because they have the ball. But they might not always be in the best spot to take the second shot. You don't always need to shoot, and sometimes just stopping your opponent from collecting boost is going to give you a chance for a better shot a few seconds later into the play. Let's see if I can break this down really quick. If you are towards one of the sides, or if you're in a position to collect the corner boost, or even some of the small pads near the opponent's net without your opponent being able to break away down the field, you should take this opportunity to starve your opponent of their boost. Starving leads to many outcomes. When an opponent has no boost, they will struggle to keep up with multiple shots, or you can create distance by taking the ball back and starting your dribble. If they have no boost, they can't catch up to you and stay close to pressure you, which means they will have to stay around the net to try and stop your flick, which, as we discovered in the first section, is not a good idea. Lastly, stealing boost just means you get to play the game at your pace. You dictate the speed. Speed it up, slow it down, Demo, bump, you remain in control of the game as long as you control the boost. Yes, some players are very good while they have very little boost, but you will learn to deal with those players over time. For now, focus on taking boost wherever you can, while defending, attacking, just positioning around midfield. If there's a big boost pad or even one of the small ones that you can pick up without being taken out of the game, do so. It stops the opponent getting any sort of small advantage over you in that aspect of the game. Now, moving on to the last thing I noticed people could do more was being more creative with their shots. As you learn this game, you start to slowly realize how much potential this game has when it comes to, well, everything. Movement, shots, aerial mechanics, ground play, recoveries, everything has incredible creative potential. And yet, in a 1v1 situation, 90% of the people I went up against would just get the ball, drive straight down the center of the field, and try to flick it. Now, yes, admittedly, I do this too sometimes, but I also change it up with different kinds of shots. I'll take the ball to the air, I'll go off the ceiling, go for flip resets or double touches or hook shots or some sort of weird wave dash dribble thing. The point is that pushing yourself and trying to play unpredictably now only allows yourself to grow and progress as a player. But it's also a lot harder to defend than someone who gets the ball, drives straight, and front flip flicks every single chance they get. And look, hey, no offense to you front flip flick fans, we all go through that stage, but maybe learn a few other flicks, maybe toss in a nice 90-degree flick, or change it up with a little hook shot action, or maybe go for a fake and try mind game your opponent. Work with what you know, and once you use all you know, start to look for more to learn. The range of ways to score in this game is limitless, so learn some new ones, and hey, this channel is full of tutorials. You want breezy flicks? We got them. You want to learn some cool aerial stuff? Say no more. Just check out the channel and I got you. But make sure that at the end of the day, when you watch back over your replay and look at your gameplay, which you all should be doing, that you aren't just going through the motions, that you aren't just picking up the ball, driving straight down the middle of the field, and flicking the same way you do every other time, just praying that this is the one time it's going to go in. Because staying creative and changing things up is what's going to take you up to that next stage in your gameplay. Overall, these 50 games were a lot of fun for me. Everyone talks about ones being the most tilting game mode, but I ended up really enjoying going up against some viewers and getting to hang out with the people in chat. So, once again, if you don't already, feel free to head over there and follow the channel. We are about 15k off 100,000 followers, which would be pretty cool to hit in the near future. And we're actually pretty close to 150,000 here on YouTube, so if you want to sub, then go ahead and do that. The stats here are something like 85% of people aren't subscribed to the channel, but they watch enough videos that the channel pops up whenever I post anything new. So please make sure to check to see if you're actually subbed or if you just like watching the vids over and over again. Lastly, for the question of the day, I want to ask, what's your rank in ones, and what's one bit of advice you would give to players below your rank? I'll look through all of these, but make sure you do too, because there may be some solid advice from the rest of the community. Anyway, that's all from me. I'll see you next time.